It's Thursday, December 22nd, and you're listening to the Geek News Central Podcast, show number 731, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. And it's also sponsored by Mozy for Business. Get 15% off by using promo code podcast15 at mozypro.com. Everyone got a great show lined up for you. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
Or go fly.
Microphone.
Or go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran, and of course I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all our great content. Of course, check out our archive podcast available via the podcast link on the website. You want to make sure you get subscribed to the show as well. You can do that via the little orange box there in the second column of the website. It has all the listings for all the shows here at GNC. The Chrome Show, Robot Underpants, The Gadget Professor, Morning Tech Show, our special media events, and of course the audio and video podcast of this show. There's a link there as well for the newsletter. The newsletter really will keep you abreast of everything that's going on the show. I send that out immediately following the podcast, and basically has all the links and all the different things that have been submitted to the show so that you'll have a full rendition of it sitting in your email inbox. Of course, I want to give a hearty welcome to the Ohana, and I want to wish everyone, of course, a Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah, whatever it may be, and or Happy Holidays, and hope everyone's enjoying their time off. I know many of you have probably are taking off work on the 23rd, 24th, and so forth, or have half days, so enjoy your time off, spend time with family, of course, and you'll get that official holiday, I guess, on Monday, the 26th. But enjoy and enjoy the Christmas season. It's a beautiful 80 degrees, windy, and rain here in Honolulu. So at least it feels a little wintry. My family enjoyed the day today by going to the zoo. Why the zoo? I don't know. But they had a new elephant cage, so they wanted to go see that, and that's what has happened. Hey, of course, I want to encourage you to watch the show on the Roku, on the Boxee, on the Samsung Smart TV, and on Google TV, and we're very excited. The issue I thought we had with the Logitech review wasn't even the case. It just was, when it updated, I needed to reboot it once, so it had a cold start, and the Tech Podcast channel is up and working on the Logitech review. So I can officially say on all Google TV devices, you can watch the show as well. Hey, you can do it via your iPad, your mobile device. There's 150 or so different devices that that you can consume this show on, along with all the other shows over at Tech Podcasts and our network at blueberry.com. I tell you, there's lots. It's pretty exciting because I wrote a blog post. It's not a podcast anymore because it is. But we're distributing in so many different places. We're live streaming tonight up on Ustream. We're also live streaming on our Amazon web hosting account. So, and that's where most of you at geeknewscentral.com or at live.geeknewscentral.com are watching on our Amazon stream. So really, there's multiple ways to consume the content, and it's all about being in this connected space. Hey, if you've got comments about the show today, we want to encourage you to reach out on Twitter at Geek News on Twitter. Of course, you can email me here, geeknews@gmail.com, or call our voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. If you want to catch some cool Ohana wear, go over to cafepress.com, Ohana store, /Ohana store. You'll find cups, mugs, pens, mouse pads, you name it over there, sweatshirts, T-shirts. You can get your GNC geek on at our Ohana store, cafepress.com /Ohana store. Hey, I want to take just a few minutes today, and I'm going to switch up a little bit on the format, specifically because of some news that has come out today and actually some news that came out yesterday and has turned into quite this PR nightmare for GoDaddy. First and foremost, I want to say before I start that GoDaddy has been a longtime sponsor of this show. They have been here from the beginning since mid-2000. Well, so the show started in October of 2004. They came on as a sponsor about May of 2005, and they've been here ever since. A lot of what you see, a lot what I do, the travel I'm able to accomplish, going to CES would not be possible without GoDaddy as an ongoing sponsor here. But they decided sometime a month and a half or 2 months ago to write a couple of columns in support of SOPA. And we've been talking about SOPA on this show, specifically how bad it will be for the internet, for people that are creating media, for linking out on blog posts, and all these different things that SOPA encompasses. And everyone in the tech space has been pretty negative on it, whereas 260 companies basically have come out, and GoDaddy was one of those, have come out and said that they're in support of SOPA. So I immediately, of course, the inbox this morning started being hammered with people saying, you know, why you still have them as a sponsor, and are you going to walk away from them as a sponsor, and, you know, are you going to boycott them? And no, I'm not, but I wanted to get their reasoning. I sent an email off to corporate. And I said, hey, you know, what's the story here? And they sent me the same link back they've been sending everyone else, or the two links. And I thought, okay, so what's going on? And I think the story is still evolving, but, you know, I as I thought about this today, and I tried to say, okay, now I look at things from a different perspective when I have my Raw Voice hat on, when I have my Geek News Central hat on. And so I tried to put a GoDaddy hat on. I know that's impossible, but I tried to put that on and tried to think, okay, why would they be behind this? And I read through their statements, and I think a lot of it has to do, and I think their interpretation is pretty narrow, and I think we all will agree that SOPA sucks and that it's not a good thing for the internet. And the legislation overall sucks. And I think what will happen is if it gets passed, no matter where you have your domain name, no matter wherever you have your website, no matter where you're hosted at, you know, we're essentially all screwed with this new rule. And it's just going to make it easier for, you know, the RIAA and the MPAA and all these groups say they're not going to use this bill as a way to shut down legitimate sites and linking and all this other stuff. But we all know that they have taken to the extreme and vague interpretations of laws and used it against us. And we've gotten burned so many times. The DMCA, we've gotten burned. You know, you look at all this stuff, this pushing through them trying to do protect IP and all this other crap legislation that's out there. So going back to trying to walk in GoDaddy shoes, you know, I'm thinking, okay, if I'm a domain registrar, I have to deal with takedown notices. I have to deal with government court orders. I have to deal with people doing stuff illegal. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff that they have to deal with that you and I, as legal, law-abiding citizens, don't have to. And, you know, I think from that perspective, I kind of understand why they want some stricter rules. So maybe from them, it's a cost of business, you know, and I'm just speculating here. Long story short, I think they've made a wrong decision on supporting SOPA. But, you know, I had someone tweet me and said, I'm boycotting anyone that has anything to do with GoDaddy, takes any money from them, that including your show. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm the show, right? Todd, right? And you come to listen to me, right? The sponsors make sure things happen here, like that we can able to afford to do what we do. Are you going to ban? Are you going to boycott the other 259 some companies that are on that list? And I looked through that list, and it's pretty impressive. To the point of makes me wonder, you know, how come these folks are thinking the way they're thinking, and these companies are thinking the way they're thinking. And let me see if I can find the email that I was reading. Let's see, of course not. Where the heck is it? Which email account did I have it on? I thought I had this queued up. and I guess I didn't. Well, that sucks. But basically, there was companies like Ford, all the major cable providers, a lot of different groups that are now saying, I didn't even know how I ended up on the list. But there's a whole bunch of mainstream companies that are all on that list. And it makes you go, how are you going to, if you're going to boycott GoDaddy and you're going to boycott this show, are you going to boycott those other companies as well? Are you going to go ahead and say, I'm not going to do business with them? And I think if you really looked at the list, it would be very, very difficult to really to implement that. And I'm doggone it. I don't know what, I had this thing queued up and I don't know what I did to, maybe I dropped it in the GNC comments folder. Is that where I put it? I don't see it there. But I thought I had this all ready for us to talk about. And of course, when you're looking for something in a rush, especially on this show, it's absolutely impossible to find. Here it is. So, example. Okay, you're not going to shop with Pet Meds anymore. You're not going to buy shoes with Adidas. You're not going to buy stuff from Bose. You're not going to buy stuff from Callaway, CBS. You're not going to buy anything from Coach. You're not going to go and do anything with buy any Dolby type products. You're not going to buy anything with from Ford. Or you're going to go not buy a Harley. Here's just just a few of the books. Now there's the ones on here I kind of expected. Wiley Publishing, the folks from Time Warner, just all those groups are on here, and all the ones that we have loved to bash on this show as well. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see where this all goes. And I'm disappointed that they are on the list. And, my mom told me that a long time ago, it's not what you love about a person, it's what you can put up with. And I guess the only thing we can do is try to educate them and get them up to speed on why that we feel this is a bad bill, and help them understand our perspective. And I'm sure as the news cycle moves here, we'll see if they don't take a look at this. I don't know. GoDaddy's not been very much to reverse course on too many things. We'll see. But again, I'm not walking in their shoes, and I can't completely obviously speak for them. I'm just a supporter of their product. And but again, this is really what this is going to boil down to. And I think this is the quintessential thing that we really have to look at, is that if you're going to boycott them, it's basically going to be symbolic. Because if the U.S. has a political firewall, whether your register is inside or outside the U.S., it really won't matter. And it won't matter whether they do or don't like SOPA. The end result is going to be the same. So, that is the thing that we have to be concerned about. And this is ultimately going to be a potential firewall from the United States. And that's a big issue for all of us. And but it's not going to just affect you move. It's still going to be, you're still going to be affected by this. Now, I wish they would have come out and said that they were against it. But they have spoken, and this is the fallout that's going to be. And I'm sure some of you are going to not want to support them, and I understand that completely. And those of you that do continue to support them may do so begrudgingly. Again, I think it's what, like my mom says, not what you love about a person, it's what you can put up with. And that may not be true in all marriages. It's definitely not completely true in mine, because we love our significant others, but there are certain things that gravel our butts, and it's if you can deal with those things that gravel us, you can move on. So we'll see where this thing smokes out over the next week. It was a nice Christmas surprise for me. Obviously they're one of our main sponsors for CES, and he got some great deals with that CES2 code and getting 25% off on hosting. So, to me, it's just like, okay, come on, just hit me with a hammer, So Merry Christmas to Todd and the team going to CES. But, it's just one of those things that you never know when the winds are going to blow against you, and you're going to be uphill from the stink pile or downhill from it. The tides turn from day to day. So we'll see how this goes. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. Email me as always. Again, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline 619-342-7365. All right, I've spent a huge amount of time on that. And let me see. Let me go back to my list, my stack here. Video creation contest. I had a couple of people respond. Really need to know where you're at. If you're in the middle, I sent data off to you, have not heard from you. Please tell me if you're going to be submitting stuff or not. I need to know. Come back at me with an email. Again, if you really, we're going to need your support on those CES 2012. The support team donations, those are ongoing. May really need the donations now. So come on back with us if you would and donate. I definitely appreciate it. We're now down. We're going to be firing 4 more writers. We found one. I actually got to send him an email today and say you're on the team. But the Gadget Professor had his show up. Robot Underpants has got one up. I think there's going to be a Saturday morning tech. It may be the CES team getting together and meeting on Christmas Eve. So we're still formalizing that, see who else is going to be available. But any of you got any of those robocalls to your cell phone? I got one the other day. It really torqued me off. I knew exactly what it sounded like because, we get those at on the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. So to get one on my cell, it just really... So I thought they weren't supposed to call cell phones. But I do want to take just one last second here. We'll take care of our last piece of business, and then we'll move into our content tonight. I've got a great lineup of stuff for you, even though it's here day before New Year's, or actually 22nd of December. There was still a fair amount of stuff going on. But Mozy Pro, Mozy for business. Again, when it comes to running a successful business, there are many things you have to get right. You have to hire good people. You have to keep your accounting right. You have to do all the things that keep people coming out of the door and renewing business. But really, one thing that's often overlooked by small and big business owners is the data that powers their business. We have earthquakes, floods, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and other types of disaster. And especially, it's been crazy in the last couple of years that threaten destruction of your servers and your computers. And what would you do today if your establishment or your business, a place you do work at, burned to the ground, or blew away? I'm sure it would be very painful. 50% of those businesses that lose their data are generally out of business within the next year. And that's 50% are out of business within the next year. And that's a pretty high statistic if you really think about it. So businesses of all sizes are using Mozy Pro for Business to back up everything from emails, contacts, important documents to family pictures and music. I've implemented it here across the entire cloud. Still working on exactly how much it's going to cost me a month. We'll let you know as the data stabilizes. But it's pretty cool. It's automated. It runs on my Macs, runs on my PCs. It was easy to set up and saves myself a lot of time. Instead of having one program backing up one machine and another program, this is a combined effort, sends everything up to their cloud. And they have an amazing server system there, very secure. So if your business is not backed up by Mozy Pro, you really need to make sure your data is backed up. Give my friends at Mozy a call. They've been doing this a long time and run the most secure, most trusted online backup service. Right now, you can save 15%. That's a big deal by using the promo code podcast15 when you talk to them or go to their online sign-up service. All you got to do is call 877-669-9776. That's 877-669-9776. Or visit mozypro.com. That's MOZY-Pro.com. Thanks, Mozy Pro, for being a sponsor here. Check it out, business owners, and those of you with multitudes of computers in your homes. All right, let's go ahead and move into the content for tonight. And we have a lot here in the stack. We spent an inordinate amount of time in the beginning on that little press fiasco that's going on. And let me go ahead and open this up. First thing up is NORAD. Yes, get your kids ready. They're going to be tracking Santa. There's QR gift tags and more holiday fun that's approaching. So NORAD is helping children, big and small, keep tabs on Santa. So, of course, NORAD was established as a joint Canadian and U.S. airspace defense military organization, and they've been tracking Santa for more than 50 years. So be aware here that they're going to have their NORAD site's going to be up. I have a link up in the show notes, something kind of cool to play around with. So they're going to have some QR gift tags available, some holiday greeting cards, see some stuff mixed in there. So very cool. And so there's going to be a Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus feeds. You're going to track on an iOS and Android app as well. So if you want to check that out. So all kinds of cool stuff. I have everything you need to know about NORAD tracking Santa. Be available in the show notes for you to check out here. One thing to add about the SOPA deal is that a lot of people are coming out and saying they're banning all companies that have come out in favor of SOPA from events. Paul Graham has said he's no longer going to allow any SOPA supporting companies at YC Demo Day, and he's going to tell companies they're working with to no longer take investments from those companies. I thought that was a pretty big stick in your foot out there. But SOPA is getting a lot of people really just their dander up in a big way, and we've talked about it a lot here. But Redfin, the CEO came out there a little different. He says, what's this about boycotting everyone? Everything's about a boycott. We're not willing to talk and have disagreements. And he says the internet is about, having ideas and small and big and opposite and polar, we've become such a society today that if you don't agree with what I'm saying, I'm going to be, that's what we become. It's even politicians, it's turned into this big divide and no one can talk anymore. And, so I don't know. I think it's the title of this is SOPA Witch Hunters. He says, "Count me out." So I think that's pretty appropriate if you really think about it. And he says, take a step away, breathe a little bit, and let's tack this thing after the holidays, and use our collective interest to get it shut down. And have the vote go our way. And the only way we can do that is get out there and scream at our politicians and make sure they know. Because if you don't, it's probably, the vote may go the wrong way. Or you got to have a little bit of fun here. You guys are going to love this. And I'm sorry if you're not watching. If you are listening, you're going to want to load this. And this is a video, and I'm going to see if I can bring this. Yeah, I can bring this up, and I'm going to play it. It's a 30-second video. I'm going to walk you through it. And what we've got is we've got a guy holding a mobile phone, sitting in front of his pet frog. So what he's doing here is pretty funny. There's a game playing, and there's ants. And, of course, the frog sees the ants on the screen, and he's going after him. The frog is attacking the screen, trying to get the ants. You can see him licking. Ba-bum, ba-bum. He's trying to get them. Of course, he's not getting anything. And he's going after these these ants and stuff in a big way. And what's even more funny is at the end of the video, the guy goes to reset the screen. He sticks his thumb out there, and the frog is so conditioned already to go after something that's coming on the screen. He goes after his thumb. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you hear the guy in the audio, you hear him, he's screaming, The frog's got a hold of him. But this is a great, I just have it up in the link in the show notes. Totally nerded out. My daughter saw this and she said, oh, that's so cool. And she's the one around here that when there's toads and stuff that get in the yard, she's the one investigating, where the rest of us are like, get rid of it. So, anyway, kind of cool stuff here. And there's a bearded dragon that's doing the same thing with a different video. But this guy was smart enough to keep his hands away from his smartphone that time. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes for that. Twitter, you think about Twitter. Does Twitter need PR? Do they really need a PR firm? Well, they hired Edelman. Edelman is like this huge monstrosity of Ford is the one that has Edelman as a client. And they're very expensive. They do what they do very, very well. And 3 months later, they're fired. So apparently it didn't work out so well. The relationship didn't. So anyway, Twitter doesn't seem to have a PR people anymore, like they really needed it in the first place. Those of you watching the video, I moved the camera position to the side. I don't know if it's any better. It gives you guys a different view. You guys see the side of my head. But I moved the camera for one show to kind of see how it looked. I don't know if I like it so much yet, and it doesn't give you guys a lot of context. All right, if you're looking for that last-minute stocking stuffer, it's probably too late to order anything, but if you're always losing your phone or leaving your phone somewhere, you're going to want to get the Zoom wireless leash. And this thing is pretty cool. It's available for $75, I think. Yeah, $75. You put this thing in your pocket. As soon as you get away from your phone, too far from your phone, it buzzes at you. Now it's about it's about the size of a silver dollar. So that's how big it is. It doesn't show how thick it is, but it basically warns you, hey, knucklehead, you've just left your phone on the bar or wherever you may have left it. So anyway, this is a great way for those of you that are always walking away from your phone not to do so. And it does a whole bunch of other stuff too. So I'll have the link up in the show notes on it for you to check out. This is over at AndroidCentral.com. There's an article over in GigaOM talking about what happens when video gets democratized. And essentially talking about this medium and how we're in Google TV, we're in Samsung Smart TV, we're in Roku, we're in Boxy. You can watch us on the iPad. You can watch us, really, you can watch the show anywhere, anytime, any place. And TV as we know it, people are cutting the cord. And so there's starting to be this shift. So all of a sudden, everyone's getting excited. Oh, it's a whole new thing. We're going to be able to change the world. And I'm like, we've been changing the world since 2004 with this media. Okay, so all of a sudden, the folks over at GigaOM wrote up this big thing about who wins and who loses when videos gets democratized. I thought, I'll go over and read it. Well, they say, hey, here's a little link. Start for free. If you full report, takes 60 seconds. Says limited time offer of $299 a year after free trial. They want me to pay $299 to read GigaOM Pro. Well, let me give you $299 worth of video democratization advice. And let's talk about what's really going to happen. All right, for a long time, the cable companies have been telling us, hey, you're going to be able to have interactive TV. You can do all these cool things. It hasn't happened, right? Video's getting cheaper to deliver. Even though it's not real cheap, it's still getting cheaper to do, and we can get great tools, and I can produce stuff here. If I really took the time and post-produced everything, I could make this thing look like a true television production. Well, maybe not really, me just sitting here in front of the camera. But it's any of you with a camera, and then you with a little editing software can go out and make a pretty cool video with a little time, right? Sites like Blip, YouTube, and all the other video hosting sites out there, they've kind of equaled the playing field. And finally, some of the stuff YouTube is trying to cherry pick some of the cool producers are trying to find stuff that's better than some kid riding a skateboard and getting hit by a car, those types of videos. So, YouTube is trying to up the game and its content. Television is at a point where, let's see here, how am I going to relate this? TV is a point right now where the music store industry was 20 years ago. They saw, or maybe 15 years ago, they saw, hey, things are changing. The space is changing, but I think I can hold on. I think I can survive. Is there any music stores left? Really not, right? Hulu has been introduced. Hulu's letting you kind of pick some stuff, but we're not getting very much of that yet. So if you want the pro media stuff, you can get some of it by little. But today, my daughter, who's 21, going to be 22 here in another week, she doesn't have a TV. She has a computer screen. My kids don't watch hardly anything, even on our set-top boxes, Roku and Boxy. They're on the net, on the computer. Okay? They do not use, I told my son, why don't you come out here and join us watch a movie? I'm watching something else on my computer, Dad. I want to watch it over here. Well, we kind of forced him to come and join us, but he's getting stuff his way. Now, television, I still believe, is the medium where you can sit back in your lazy boy with your remote control, and you can choose that channel you want to watch, right? That's why I was so big with my team. We got to be on the TVs. We got to make it easy for people to be able to get access to our content creators. You guys, I'm pushing all the time. This show on Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV. I'm pushing that, right? The reason is because I know it's easy for you guys to watch the content. And I know you're not going to watch the content all the way through, watching me on the screen and, flipping my fingers at the camera here, doing something unprofessional. What you're going to do is you're going to sit there with your laptop and you're going to be on Facebook, you're going to be on Twitter, you're going to be on Google Plus, you're going to be surfing the net, you're going to be shopping, and you're going to look up at the camera when I tell you something cool or show you something cool. And, but at the same time, those of you that are listening, you're listening to me on your drive to work. You're listening on your treadmill. You're listening when you're lifting weights. You're listening to me in your cubicles. You're listening to me while you're driving you're on golfing or wherever it may be. You're listening, and you can't always watch. So that's the big secret that they don't want to tell you, is that the audio is as equal of important as a thing as the video. And audio is almost more important. But here's the kicker. Today I had a call from a guy that I've been working on a new advertising plan for. It's been crazy here at the end of the year. So I had this guy call me and he says, Todd, I want to, I got your proposal, and I noticed in the proposal you had the link video checked for the ads. And he says, I don't want to be in any video. I want to be in audio. And I said, Jason, don't worry. I said, I probably clicked that by accident. I want you to be in audio too, because that's where the ads are most effective. And he's like, okay, great. And he says, can you alter that and send that back? So I did. And we're going to get him started on a campaign. And he understands the medium very powerfully, because where does he listen to all his podcasts? On the cross trainer at the gym. He said, I do an hour on the cross trainer every day. I says, I do it in my office before I leave home for work. He's a self-employed business owner, and he's got his own little workout room in his executive office, and he works out in there. And he says, I listen to it there. I said, I have time for video. I'd like to listen. So video and audio is different than text. You guys can consume it in different places at different times. And we know that video requires creative skills. Not too creative, because here I am, right? But those of you listening, you could care less about the video. You just want to hear what I have to say. So I just saved you $300, because that is how this medium, which people have been saying for a long time, we got a ways to go. We have got a ways to go. And probably at the 10-year mark, when this show's 10 years old in 2014, we're probably going to be talking how we're still shifting. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay. Don't get me wrong. This isn't, but it's going to happen. And if anything is I'm seeing over the past 2 weeks, an example, I'm hoping we're going to have a great year, because we've done a lot of good stuff here in the last couple of weeks, and we're going to be bringing on a lot more sponsors. But people are starting to figure it out. They really are, that we're connecting right here. And, I had conversation, what person or what television show would take 10 minutes at the beginning of their show to talk about their sponsor who's in the middle of a PR fiasco right now? No other media's going to do that. They're just going to do their content. They're going to run the ad, and they're not going to say nothing. They're going to shh. Right? Oh, man. So this is the future. This is where we're going. So you don't need to pay GigHome $299. You can do a contribution to the show for $299 if you feel like. I'll give you these analyses anytime you want, every day of the week. Now, in a big win here, this is one that we won, that an appeals court has reaffirms a DMCA defense and the VO court victory. A lot of good it does. VO's, I think, out of business at this point. But Universal, UMG, claimed that the site facilitated copyright infringement. And basically, VO said, hey, I am the same as YouTube. I am protected because I can't monitor everything coming up here. And we'll take care of it when you ask us to take it down and so forth. So this is big win for VO, and it sets precedents for us that's going to protect us more on the safe harbor stuff. And if anything we can do to defend this potential SOPA approval is the Safe Harbors Act. We keep those types of rulings going, and it's gonna help us out a lot. Hey, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff we're going to be covering at CES. There's a good review of the Arcos 70B that Alan put up on the website. We're going to have them in talking to us live at CES. We covered Toddy last year, but Toddy's coming out with some new stuff, and this is for those of you that have to dress up nice, not wearing aloha gear like we do here in Hawaii. And you'll be able to have a nice handkerchief that'll actually double. You, of course, got to be careful which side you use. Double is clean off your iPad and some other stuff. So we'll have them up and have them on and showing their new stuff out. Big news was that today was announced that Microsoft has said this is our last CES. We're not coming back in 2013. So Microsoft has been a big part of CES for the past 20 years, and they've been the lead keynote, I think, for the last 14. And essentially, there's a little bit of scuttlebutt going on. Basically, how this all went down is basically CE. This is all rumor. Nothing from the horse's mouth, but what's being reported. CE said, hey, Microsoft, we want you to pony up some more cash to have that lead keynote space. And Microsoft said, no, we're leaving. We're not coming back. So this will be interesting to see what happens. Now, this year, I've gotten more emails from companies that are off-site. I had a company that is very big, makes monitors. Probably you can buy them in Costco. And they said, hey, we want you to come to our press event at CES 2012. And I'm like, great, what's your booth? Oh, we're not at a booth. We're at the Win. I'm like, oh, what day? I said, are you bringing a limo to pick me up to bring me to the Win so I can come see your stuff, and you're going to whisk me back after in a limo afterwards? And no, then I'm not leaving the convention center. It's not happening. And I'm not taking 2 hours. What, you're going to send me home with 10 monitors or something like that? We'll come see you. But a lot of companies off site, and that has to be concerning for CE. So we'll keep track of it and talk about it more as we're getting close. Well, as a consolation prize, the FCC approved AT&T's $1.9 billion purchase of Qualcomm 700 megahertz spectrum. So that is good news for AT&T. They've got something to at least to shine about their last quarter. So this is their first good PR in a while after getting smacked around quite a bit. And I think it's pretty interesting that Qualcomm was going to use that before for their Flow TV. And if you remember from our coverage at the show, Flow TV was a big thing before, and they were implementing Flow TV. Flow TV turned to be a disaster. And some people are trying to repurpose that for different purposes. So we'll see what now AT&T does with it to finish out their LTE network. Hey, one thing you'll want to invest in, AT&T is going to have to be putting their infrastructure in. They're going to be building more towers. I'd find out who AT&T's tower contractor is. I would invest in that company. I think that would be a smart thing. Hey, the Malaysian government's doing something cool. They have built an app and made it available on devices, on set-top boxes. And basically what they're doing, it's where they're going to be able to get information out to the public in times of emergency or even announcements. And it's basically the Malaysians' own television station, but it's only IPTV based. And so pretty cool. And we'll see what develops from this. But they're not the only ones. Hong Kong's doing it as well. Interesting that it's Asian countries that are leading the way on this. I don't know. Does C-SPAN have of course, C-SPAN is more about watching what's going on in the Senate and the House and different type of legislature stuff. They don't really cover a lot of breaking governmental news. So I don't think, does anybody know of an app that's dedicated to government stuff? I guess that's up to CNN and Fox and MSNBC to cover that. So interesting, though, that Malaysia's having their own specific app. One way to control the media is to have the complete control of the pipeline. That way, when people are watching it, they can set their own agenda, right? Okay. What's going on here? Let me look over at Mozilla. Mozilla, congratulations to them. They've renewed their advertising pack with Google. And this is big. So Mozilla and Firefox, of course, Google's going to be the default search engine. And here's the story. Google was paying like $130 million a year to be on Firefox before as the default search engine. Oops, let's switch it back here to this. And let's take that down. 300 million is what it's being reported. So I'm pretty happy, because if Mozilla had not gotten this money, they would have been in trouble. And a lot of people were worried. But it turns out that Microsoft was bidding, so was Yahoo. So they were going to get some money. It just depends on who. So Google had to step up to the plate to the tune of $300 million a year. That's just huge, isn't it? It's big, big, big money for sure. All right, so congratulations to them, and give them enough money to keep rocking and rolling. Maybe be able to do some more cool. With that kind of influx of cash, $300 million a year, I think they can do a lot. Wonder if they'll be hiring some people. Oh, the RIAA. Hey, a lot of people received basically a court summons from the RIAA, and people said, hey, it wasn't me. It was somebody over there that was downloading stuff on peer-to-peer. Amazing how those defenses did not work for those consumers, and they still had to pay the RIAA money. Well, imagine this. The RIAA say, hey, someone else is pirating through our private IP addresses. Some other entity is using it. Okay. It wasn't a member of RIAA staff who downloaded these files, the RIAA insists. It was a mysterious third-party vendor who unknowingly smeared the group's good name. Those partial IPs... So this is even better. The IP addresses are registered to the RIAA, which showed the unauthorized downloads. And they said that these file sharing transactions weren't carried out by the RIAA staffers, but a third party who uses the RIAA IP addresses to share and distribute files online. Huh? They're distributing files? Interesting. Those partial IP addresses are similar to block addresses. But they weren't ours. It wasn't our group. It was an outside vendor. Can you even let some other vendor use your IPs? So I have to agree with the folks at torrentfreak.com. Would you let someone come in your house and say, hey, dude, I'm going to load a peer-to-peer application on my computer. I'm going to download stuff on your net. Would that be cool? You don't unlock your Wi-Fi so that the neighbor can use your stuff to download stuff. I think the RIAA ought to do a little house cleaning because someone else did it, right? It wasn't us. Look over there. Oh, look over here. It was over there. It's nice how they try to use that excuse. A little bit of being a little bit of a hypocrite, yeah? Interesting. All right, next one. Very good one. It's going to happen at CES. Apparently, OnStar is going to, of course, last year OnStar introduced a rear mirror that you could hit OnStar with. You know about that, right? If you want OnStar capability in your vehicle, all you have to do is buy a rear mirror. You can get that. It doesn't matter what type of model car you have. But apparently this year they're going to be introducing a car video chat system for the back seat of automobiles. Now, no carrier has been mentioned, but apparently you're going to be able to have a webcam and a 4G LTE modem so the backseat passenger can choose whichever video calling solution they want and calling Skype out on Skype and making a video call to someone. So it's kind of an interesting one. So I'm sure there's going to be limousines and town cars and stuff that are going to be running this, and partly as well they'll be able to see video, HBO, taxi, all kinds of stuff here. So this will be kind of cool. A little bit. I can imagine people doing little weird stuff with these. These potentially, especially in a cab, and they have that ability in there, and you can. Okay, we won't go any further than that. We'll get the scoop for you at CES. If you got kids getting ready to go to college this coming year, and I'm starting to look at this stuff a lot more, there's a great infographic over on webdesignerdepot.com talking about the best education websites by the numbers, talks about schools and how their websites fare up and some of the features and so forth. I'll have that up in the show notes for you. Okay, let me go ahead here and this is a cool one. Wait till I show you this. This is smoking here. Let me bring this up. Okay, NASA's Dawn orbiter has snapped some of its best images of Vesta. Oh, crap. Let me put the right screen up. Bring back here. Go there. Okay, there we go. So, you want to see an asteroid? There's one right there. And I thought it'd be cool if there was like a 4-wheel drive parked on the dunes there. But this thing's going to be for like the next 10 months. It's going to be taking pictures of the asteroid Vesta. It's in orbit around it. I don't know. How do they do that? This thing's I guess it's on the move, and yet they're able to, well, I guess they do this all the time. So, because planets are on the move. That was kind of stupid, wasn't it? But anyway, this is a pretty cool picture. It's the image is from its low altitude mapping orbit on December 13th. Shows part of the rim of a fresh crater on Vesta, located in an area known as the heavily cratered terrain in the northern hemisphere. So whatever that means. But anyway, very, very cool. This was only 11 miles up when it took the image. I have the link up in the show notes. You can take a closer look. And NASA's releasing a whole bunch of stuff. And the image of the day that, man, oh man, that is on my desktop. This is an amazing picture. Remember the comet Lovejoy that basically didn't get burned up as it went by the sun? Well, the folks from the International Space Station, specifically NASA astronaut Dan Burbank, Expedition 30 commander, was able to get a picture. Here he's basically the spacecraft is approaching dawn, and you can see the comet on the horizon. This is an astounding picture. It really is. It's you think about this and how this was captured and the angle and just being in the right place at the right time. Really, really cool. And it shows you the magnitude. If you think about where that comet was and how close it was to the sun and the contrail that this thing is producing, it's just, and I don't know if that's the right word for it, but pretty exotic. This will be on my desktop for a very, very long time. So, what's your favorite desktop images? Do you guys change them out all the time? All right, over on Gizmodo, it's a scoop. It measures and it spreads. This is obviously the world's greatest spoon, and this is a bachelor's dream. If you want to make sure you get the exact measurement on something and then can reuse that same utensil later on, this is what you want to get. This is available over at quirky.com, and this is a very cool spoon. So I'm always looking for stuff that is cool like this. But anyway, the link was from Gizmodo. I have it up in the show notes. Did you guys know that a single gallon of gasoline can power an iPhone for 20 years? Now, this is an interesting piece of PR work here being done by ExxonMobil. According to Bill Colton, a VP at ExxonMobil, a single gallon of gasoline has enough energy to charge an iPhone once a day for 20 years. If you think about that, all right, a gallon of gasoline, it would running a generator. Generator's capable, of course, you can't charge as fast as a generator puts power out because it trickle charges it, right? So if you theoretically could divide that out, I guess that makes sense. But that's pretty impressive if you think about it. 20 years, charging a cell phone for 20 years on a single gallon of gas. It just shows you the efficiency of gasoline. Now, if you think about solar and how long it charges to charge your cell phone on a solar panel, not as efficient. Gasoline still has, some serious BTU power. But anyway, have a link up in the show notes on that. You can check out. That was over on Gizmodo as well. Okay, if you have a aspiring coder at home and you don't have all the cool tools, well, Code Academy has built a lab. It's a web-based code editor with all kinds of cool stuff. It has tutorials, teaches you how to program online. It's launched a labs feature today. This is a very cool. It's basically this initial version will let you. Let's see, what's your code? It can code in JavaScript. What else? Python and Ruby as a way to practice languages. It'll compile it and you can download it as an executable. That's even cool. So they say this site eliminates the biggest hurdle. When folks are learning to code, people want a super easy way to get something with it. So labs make it really easy to continue along the path of learning stuff without any complications that go along with programming. So they got like $2.5 million in venture funding. But anyway, this is seems like it'd be an awesome site to use for someone that's trying to learn to code, especially with the tutorials and so forth. All right, those of you on Verizon Fios, they're going to be launching a home media server in 2012. They're going to be bringing in a brand new set-top box by Motorola. This is, I've told you, when did we go? When did I go to that set-top box convention 2 years ago? Here we are already. They're coming out with a set-top box for Verizon Fios that has all these cool features, apps, run stuff in your house. It's going to do all the things we're expecting to happen. But anyway, Verizon Fios customers are going to get this sometime in 2012. Don't know what the pricing for this is going to be or if it's going to come as part of your service. But interesting to see what they're building. Knew this was coming. And, cable companies are working very, very hard to make sure that they stay relevant and bring you all kinds of tools so that you don't go and plug something else into the HDMI 1 plug. Republic Wireless. Have you got Republic Wireless in your neighborhood? Well, I don't think we do here, but Republic Wireless made a statement today announcing that they have said that we're going to have unlimited bandwidth with no restrictions. And they had taken a lot of heat, apparently, from their fair use policy, and they basically say, hey, we're not going to have one at all. There will simply be no thresholds and no risk of losing services. We're doing away with all that to keep all the focus instead on where it really belongs. So are they buying? Who are they buying from? I got to check these folks out. Republic Wireless. And definitely, so I'm going to actually bring their website up here. We're probably doing on time. We're doing okay. And let me go back to their website and let me see what it cost. $19 a month. Oh, that's interesting. It's hybrid calling. You get Optimus smartphone. You use Wi-Fi and I guess a third-party connection, but it's unlimited data. So I guess, is the Optimus phone running an Android? It says, what am I buying? Freedom from calling plans, overage caps, tiers, and termination fee. Members of the Republic Wireless community get an Android-powered smartphone and unlimited use of it for calls, texts, and data. Your phone comes with built-in hybrid calling technology. It leverages the web whenever Wi-Fi is available and uses a cellular as fallback when needed. It's $19 a month. Wow. Now, you have to pay $199 for a startup fee. You don't buy minutes. Wow. $19? There's got to be a catch. There isn't. Hey, anyone getting experience with these folks? All right, here's it actually says, what's the catch? Actually, you're the catch. So chances are, research shows that most people are around Wi-Fi networks 60% of the time and growing. If that's you, then you have to set up your phone one time and access the Wi-Fi you'll have at home, work, and wherever else to spend time. And interesting. All right, Republic Wireless. All of you go check it out, republicwireless.com. I just gave them the best advertisement they could ever get. We learned about them on the fly. I was not familiar with these folks, but at $19, a month, I gotta get my kids on this. I'm not kidding. I'll order a phone just to try it. Absolutely. All right. We'll do it trial by fire here. All right. Google has triples its. Oh, actually, we talked about that already. Oh, this is cool. Did you guys remember back in a couple of years ago, we heard about white space broadband? And this is where basically they use the frequencies in between the HDTV digital frequency bands. You know how the TV broadcasters were screaming and hollering that this is going to cause problems and it's going to make our TV service not work and blah, 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 blah. Well, the FCC has approved its first white space broadband device. It's from a company called KTS Wireless specifically. And this is amazing. What's going to be happening here? We're going to have to keep an eye on this space now. This is going to be where a bunch of startups are going to happen, where a lot of people are going to be getting internet service where they couldn't before. My mom is getting new equipment put in tomorrow. She's getting her wireless speed is going up. So I'm kind of curious if they're implementing some of this stuff here. So I'm going to find out what her speed gets to. But remember, she lives in the country, no broadband, but she's on a wireless network right now, and I don't know exactly what technology they use, except I know they've got a very directional antenna that points towards the tower, where she gets about 1.5 to 2 megs down and about 250K up, which is a lot better than dial-up, which she was on before. So with this type of stuff, I'm sure is going to be used in rural America, and hopefully in cities too, where we're going to be able to get the more need for speed, right? So this is outstanding that this white space broadband devices are being approved. Now this is actually going to be restricted to one region for now, Wilmington, North Carolina. And it says expansion will be permitted pending completion and activation of the commission's facilities. Oh, so there isn't, they haven't got the full process in place. So this is kind of a test go here. But anyway, we'll see where this happens. But Wilmington was one of the first places to make the DTV conversion, so I guess this is some sort of a test bed. Hey, the BBC's got a great article, How to Spot a Dodgy Cash Machine, and I do this when I'm out of town and I'm using cash machines in 7-Elevens and different places. I always really look at the ATM machine. I just, a lot of times you're in a hurry and you just want to go jam your card in. I look at these things and I make sure they look real, and then I make sure there's no extra bumps on them. This face is smooth. I make sure there's no extra ridges on top where people could stick a camera or have a card reader. BBC's got a good article about how to spot a dodgy cash machine. I think this applies anywhere, so be aware. I was in Austin on the way to the airport, stopped at some gas station, went inside to grab something. What did I get? A bottle of water or something. I needed some money out of the ATM. I went to the ATM machine. There was a lot of kids, a lot of people hanging around, and the ATM looked dodgy. It just didn't look right. And a couple of kids over on the side using a computer. I thought, okay, something's up here. So I didn't say nothing. I went and just paid for my credit card at the counter, $1 transaction on my credit card. I hate doing that. But I guess it gave me a mile on my mileage card. Irregardless, the ATM machine just didn't look right. And this is some signs to look out for people using computers real close, because a lot of times the devices will connect via or communicate via Bluetooth or some sort of wireless. They have to be pretty close to read off as the reader's reading your card, and you put and punching your PIN in, and they're getting the video feed from that. Okay, moving on here. This is a big year for data loss. The folks at Bloomberg Business Week talks about the medical records and Sony, and talks about all the corporations that lost millions and millions of our records and made them available for hackers. I have that link up in the show notes. Those of you that got a cool 50 grand laying around, the Tesla S will sell for under $50,000, and it runs for 160 miles on a single charge. Basically, Tesla's come out with a lower priced option to try to compete with the Nissan Leaf and some of the other electric cars out there. But I will say one thing about the Tesla S: it's beautiful. It is a beautiful car. Expensive, but your $7,500 government rebate is included to get that price down to $49,900. So if you need a vehicle that goes at least 160 miles, you'll be able to get one. Seems like a lot of money for a car. In this economy, I'm looking for that used car on a lot that's $13K or under. That's what I'm looking for these days. Actually, my wife's vehicle is near its end of life, and we drive them till the wheels fall off, folks. So she's been working part-time, saving some extra money. And the way I work my car purchases is I pay upfront for the vehicles, but we pay ourselves every month as if we had a car payment. So we're close to being able to go car shopping for her. And so I'm trying to hold her off for about another year. We're going to get a Ford. Absolutely. She's pretty much decided on which model she wants. So this will be a first Ford for us. And being that she's Japanese and a big loyal on Toyota, it's just a big step. But she says the Toyotas just look ugly. So there is something about style. Hey, the FTC wants the ICANN to delay new domain play. So a group of House lawmakers this week asked the internet governing body to delay plans to increase the number of generic top-level domains. Like, basically, it could have one that's .geek news or .pcmag or whatever. They basically said, hold up, we don't want you to release all these. And, of course, the ICANN doesn't have to do that. But several groups have asked them to work out the process because they're worried there's going to be all kinds of squatters and stuff. They're going to come in and take up those TLDs. Science News, the Large Hadron Collider, have discovered its first new particle. They have basically named it the CHI-B parentheses 3P, so whatever that is, was uncovered in the debris from colliding protons, according to research published in the open access journal RXIV. Boy, they make it easy to read all these things. But anyway, there is a new particle that's been discovered. So if you're a science freak and like that kind of stuff, I'll have a link up in the show notes for you to check out. And it shouldn't come as a surprise. The U.S. government has targeted the Pirate Bay, Mega Upload, and others. The U.S. government has classified some of the largest websites on the internet as examples of sites which sustain global piracy. The list released by the United States Trade Representative draws exclusive and on input from rights holders like the RIAA and the MPAA. And, of course, it includes popular torrent sites such as the Pirate Bay, Mega Upload, and Russia's leading social network, vKontakte. So anyway, the list was based solely from groups like the RIAA and MPAA, so this shouldn't be surprising. So it just goes to show you, folks, that what are they going to do? They're going to ask ISPs to start blocking those sites? Could. All right, average web page approaches 1 meg. According to new research by HTTP Archive, which regularly scans the internet's most popular destinations, the average size of a web page now is 965 kilobits. Back in 1995, it was only 14K. So we have grown considerably since then. And they feel that the growth is largely because of the reduced use of Flash and more standard CSS and HTML. So interesting that we've grown to 965 kilobits. I know Google still is punishing people for slow page leads. You guys know the comedian Louis C.K.? I'm not familiar with this guy at all. But we talked about him doing an experiment in getting people to buy his latest comedy special. And basically he said, hey, I'm going to make this available. It's online. All I want's $5 for it. There's no DRM. You can download it, share it, and so forth. He's raised $1 million. It took 12 days, and he's pretty overwhelmed about it, but he's being cool. He's being really cool about it. He says, and it's not very often someone comes into $1 million immediately, and what he's going to do is $250,000 is going to go off to pay expenses related to the website. Another $250,000 going to his staff and the people who helped work on the show. So he's going to be spreading that around, giving out big fat bonuses. He said he's taken $280,000 and giving it away to a list of charities, which is going to remain $220K. He says, hey, that leaves me with $220K for myself. Some of that will pay my rent, and will care for my children. The rest I will do terrible, horrible things with, and none of that is any of your business. Don't forget, you got to pay taxes on that, okay? So the 220K is probably more like 100, and so he's going to have to pay at least 75,000 in taxes on that. So he's really not going to end up with that much money left over. In the scheme of things, he is. But he's probably going to, like I said, 80K. So he's more going to take home like 140. But still, not bad for 12 days work and being cool and giving something away, right? It shows you what $5 a person can do. This show would be very capable of reaching $500,000 overnight if everyone did $5. If every listener did $5, we could raise $500,000 overnight. Think about that for a second. Think what we could do with that money. We would not have to have any ads on the show at all. No sponsors whatsoever. It could be big. So, and I'm cool. I'm not begging. All right. But it is cool what he was able to accomplish there. It's pretty awesome. Yep. All right. Let me go ahead and link up to the last article here. Hey, righthaven.com. It's for sale. It's going to be auctioned off. Who wants to own that domain? I'll bid on it for a penny, and then we'll do something, bad with it. We'll put something on it that's just, is a warning to groups that go out and try to strong arm people for fair use of materials. So anyway, that's all I got for content tonight. Let me go ahead here and get into, I've got some emails. And we'll bring this up. I want to thank Jim for sending me a link over to a look inside the Space Shuttle Atlantis. I want to thank you for that, Jim. I appreciate it. John, I hope that you'll understand my explanation on GoDaddy tonight. I appreciate that. Because he says, I will have to stop supporting GoDaddy. Well, John, are you going to stop supporting the 259 other companies on that list? That's the question. I've got an email here from Paul. He said, I'm very disappointed that the GoDaddy Sports Sopa. Please discuss this issue. Thank you, Paul. And we have tonight. Got an email here from Matt. He says, hey, Todd, it's harder to stuff a... Okay, let's try this again. He said, hey, Todd, it's harder to stuff a stocking with an Xbox or PlayStation than with a Rubik's Cube, which is good for people's brains. But that's the dilemma that today's parents have to face. Toys have changed a lot since we were young. And to illustrate that, we put together an infographic with the holiday season's most popular toys of the last 30 years. Did your favorites make the cut? And this is completely a shill link here from a company was trying to get some traffic. So because it kind of covered that, fell in with that theme that we talked about on the last show about toys getting more complicated for, more advanced for our kids these days. That definitely is a kind of fits into that. So that's the reason we've got that shill article for you. And it's pretty cool. I'll let you take a link. It'll be up there in the listener links. Got an email back from Nir. He's our listener in Israel. He says, hey, Todd, it's true. The Israeli Mark Zuckerberg, previously named Rotem Goz, did in fact change his name. It's official. In Israel, if you're an Israeli citizen and not a minor, you can walk into any Ministry of Interior office and change your name. The only caveat is that once you do, you can't change your name again for the next 7 years. Mark opened a blog called markzuckerbergofficial.com where he covers the story, and you can also watch the video of him going into the ministry's office to change his name. The lady who handled his case tried to ask him to reconsider and also ask him whether his parents agree. His answer was that he was 32 years old and a father himself. She had no way to stop him but to approve his name change. This Mark, who is also a social media professional, tried to play the game within Facebook rules. Well, almost. It appears that Facebook didn't like it. I think that rather than trying to pick on a little guy and sue him, they should have looked within their own system for a solution. Nir. Thanks, Nir, for that. And I wonder if he's going to regret that in a couple of years that his name is Mark Zuckerberg. It's pretty radical, don't you think? It's good for 15 minutes of fame, but was that really that smart? I think here, I don't know how easy it is here in the United States. I think you have to go in front of a judge and ask to change your name. I don't think it's that easy. Has anyone ever changed their name that listens to the show? I don't even know. I guess I have to look it up. But imagine just walking to play. I want to change my name. You could change. Think about it. I want to change my name to Steve Jobs. People would think you're a whack job, So, is this guy? Think about the headaches of changing your bank accounts, your credit cards, your passport, all that stuff. And you're stuck with it for 7 years? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Got an email from Jay Powell. He says, I cringe every time I read a Geek News newsletter. I like the content, but sometimes reading is like hearing fingernails scratching across a blackboard. Well, it's something that comes up here all the time. I apologize. And what can I say? You want to be our copy editor? We had one at one time. Love to have you on board as a copy editor. We can always use one. We appreciate it. And actually, if you want to be, we'll do that we'll even pay you to do that if you'd like to come on board. I think that's it. What have I got here? Yeah, that's it. That's it for tonight, everybody. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for indulging me. Merry Christmas and have a happy holidays and happy Hanukkah. So everyone out there, enjoy. We'll take care. We'll see you next time. And of course, thanks for your support here at Geek News Central. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show. Talk to you next time. Take care and aloha.